All right, chapter 10. We got the power of the mastermind. Should have recorded what we just was talking about. All right.
We were masterminding.
That's all right. There'll be more of that.
Oh yeah. Everything's the beginning.
Everything's the beginning. Absolutely. Some Janae Aiko. All right, let's see.
All righty. The driving force. That's very powerful. Okay, chapter 10. Power of the mastermind, the driving force, the 9th step toward riches. Power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. Turn this phone off. In the accumulation of money, plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them. I apologize, guys. This thing goes off here. Let me just take 1 second to turn this off because it will do that. I get messages back to back. Okay, let me start all over. Power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. Plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. This chapter will describe the method by which the individual may attain and apply power. Power may be defined as organized and intelligently directed knowledge. Power, as the term is used here, refers to organized effort, sufficient to enable an individual to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Organized effort is produced through the coordination of effort of 2 or more people who work toward a definite end in a spirit of harmony. Power is required for the accumulation of money. Power is necessary for the retention of money after it has been accumulated. Let us ascertain how power may be acquired. If power is organized knowledge, let's examine the sources of knowledge. A, you have infinite intelligence. This source of knowledge may be contacted through the procedure described in another chapter about the aid of creative imagination. B, accumulated experience. The accumulated experience of man, or that portion of it which has been organized and recorded, may be found in any well-equipped public library. An important part of this accumulated experience is taught in public schools and colleges, where it has been classified and organized. Experiment and research, number C, or C. In the field of science and in practically every other walk of life, men are gathering, classifying, and organizing new facts daily. This is the source to which one must turn when knowledge is not available through accumulated experience. Here, too, the creative imagination must often be used. Knowledge may be acquired from any of the foregoing sources. It may be converted into power by organizing it into definite plans and by expressing those plans in terms of action. Examination of the 3 major sources of knowledge will readily disclose the difficulty an individual would have if he depended upon his efforts alone in assembling knowledge and expressing it through definite plans in terms of action. If his plans are comprehensive, and if they contemplate large proportions, he must generally induce others to cooperate with him before he can inject into them the necessary element of power. Gaining power through the mastermind. The mastermind may be defined as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. No individual may have great power without availing himself of the mastermind. In the preceding chapter, instructions were given for the creation of plans for the purpose of translating desire into its monetary equivalent. If you carry out these instructions with persistence and intelligence and use discrimination in the selection of your mastermind group, your objective will have been halfway reached even before you begin to recognize it. So you may better understand the intangible potentialities of power available to you through a properly chosen mastermind group. We will here explain the two characteristics of the mastermind principle, one of which is the economic in nature, the other is psychic. The economic feature is obvious. Economic advantages may be created by any person who surrounds himself with the advice, counsel, personal cooperation of a group of men who are willing to lend him wholeheartedly aid in a spirit of perfect harmony. This form of cooperative alliance has been the basis for nearly every great fortune. Your understanding of this great truth may definitely determine your financial status. The psychic phase of the mastermind principle is much more abstract, much more difficult to comprehend because it has reference to the spiritual forces with which the human race as a whole is not well acquainted. You may catch a significant suggestion from this statement. No two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind. Keep in mind that the fact that there are only two known elements in the whole universe, energy and matter. It is well beyond the fact that matter may be broken down into units of molecules, atoms, and electrons. There are units of matter which may be isolated, separated, and analyzed. Likewise, there are units of energy. The human mind is a form of energy. A part of it is being spiritual in nature. When the minds of two people are coordinated in a spirit of harmony, the spirit units of energy of each mind form an affinity which constitutes the psychic phase of the mastermind. The mastermind principle, or rather the economic feature of it, was first called to my attention by Andrew Carnegie over 25 years ago. Discovery of this principle was responsible for the choice of my life work. Mr. Carnegie's mastermind group consisted of a staff of approximately 50 men whom he surrounded himself for the definite purpose of manufacturing and marketing steel. He attributed his entire fortune to the power he accumulated through this mastermind. Analyze the record of any man who accumulated a great fortune and many of those who have accumulated modest fortunes, and you will find that they have either consciously or unconsciously employed the mastermind principle. Great power can be accumulated through no other principle. Energy is nature's universal set of building blocks out of which she constructs every material thing in the universe, including man and every form of animal and vegetable life. Through a process which only nature completely understands, she translates energy into matter. Nature building blocks are available to man in the energy involved in thinking. Man's brain may be compared to an electric battery. It absorbs energy from the ether, which permeates every atom of matter and fills the entire universe. It is well-known fact that a group of electric batteries will provide more energy than a single battery. It is also well-known fact that an individual battery will provide energy in proportion to the number and capacity of cells it contains. The brain function is a similar fashion. This accounts for the fact that some brains are more efficient than others and leads to this significant statement. A group of brains coordinated or connected in a spirit of harmony will provide more thought energy than a single brain, just as a group of electric batteries will provide more energy than a single battery. Through this metaphor, it becomes immediately obvious that the mastermind principle holds the secret of the power wielded by men who surround themselves with other men's of brains. There follows now another statement which will lead still nearer to an understanding of the psychic phase of the mastermind principle. When a group of individual brains are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual brain in the group. It is well-known fact that Henry Ford began his business career under the handicap of poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance. It is an equally well-known fact that within the inconceivable short period of 10 years, Mr. Ford mastered these three handicaps, that within 25 years, he made himself one of the richest men in America. Connect with this fact the additional knowledge that Mr. Ford's most rapid strides became noticeable from the time he became a personal friend of Thomas A. Edison. And you will begin to understand the influence of one mind upon another, what can it accomplish. Go a step further and consider the fact that Mr. Ford's most outstanding achievements began from the time that he formed the acquaintances of Harvey Firestone, John Burrell, Luther Burbank, each man of great brain capacity. And you will further evidence that power may be produced through friendly alliance of minds. There is little, if any, doubt that Henry Ford is one of the best informed men in the business and industrial world. The question of his wealth needs no discussion. Analyze Mr. Ford's intimate personal friends, some of whom have already been mentioned, and you will be prepared to understand the following statement. Men take on the nature and habits and the power of thought of those with whom they associate in a spirit of sympathy and harmony. Henry Ford whipped poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance by allying himself with great minds, whose vibrations of thought he absorbed into his own mind. Through his association with Edison, Burbank, Burroughs, and Firestone, Mr. Ford added to his own brain power the sum and substance of the intelligence, experience, knowledge, and spiritual forces of these four men. Moreover, he appropriated and made use of the mastermind principle through the methods of procedure described in this book. This principle is available to you. We have already mentioned Mahatma Gandhi. Perhaps the majority of those who have heard of Gandhi look upon him as merely an eccentric little man who goes around without formal wearing apparel and makes trouble for the British government. In reality, Gandhi is not eccentric. He is the most powerful man now living, estimated by the number of his followers and their faith in their leader. Moreover, he is probably the most powerful man who has ever lived. His power is passive, but it is real. Let us study the method by which he attained his stupendous power. It may be explained in a few words. He came by power through inducing over 200 million people to coordinate with mind and body in a spirit of harmony for a definite purpose. In brief, Gandhi has accomplished a miracle, for it is a miracle that when 200 million people can be induced, not by force, to cooperate in a spirit of harmony for a limitless time. If you doubt that this is a miracle, try to induce any two people to cooperate in a spirit of harmony for any length of time. Every man who manages a business knows what a difficult matter it is to get employees to work together in a spirit even remotely resembling harmony. The list of chief sources from which power may be attained, as you have seen, headed by infinite intelligence. The list of the chief sources from which power may be attained, as you have seen, headed by infinite intelligence. When two or more people coordinate in a spirit of harmony, and work toward a definite objective. They place themselves in a position through that alliance to absorb power directly from the great universal storehouse of infinite intelligence. This is the greatest of all sources of power. It is the source to which the genius turns. It is the source to which every great leader turns, whether he may be conscious of the fact or not. The other two major sources from which the power necessary for accumulation of power may be attained are no more reliable than the five senses of man. The senses are not always reliable. Infinite intelligence does not err. Does anybody want to take over now?
Sure, I got you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. In subsequent chapters, the methods by which infinite intelligence may be most readily contacted will be adequately described. This is not a course on religion. No fundamental principle described in this book should be interpreted as being intended to interfere either directly or indirectly with any man's religious habits. This book has been confined exclusively to the instructing the reader how to transmute the definite purpose of desire for money into the monetary equivalent. Read, think, and meditate as you read. Soon the entire subject will unfold, and you will see it in perspective. You are now seeing the detail of the individual chapters. Money is as shy and elusive as the old-time maiden. It must be wooed and won by the methods not unlike those used by a determined lover in pursuit of a girl of his choice. And coincidental as it is, the power used in wooing of money is not greatly different from those used of wooing a maiden. That power, when successfully used in the pursuit of money, must be mixed with faith. It must be mixed with desire. It must be mixed with persistence. It must be applied through a plan, and that plan must be set into action. When money comes in quantities known as the big money, it flows to the one who accumulates it as easy as water flows down the hill. There exists a great unseen stream of power, which may be compared to a river, except that one side flows in one direction, carrying all who get into that side of the stream onward and upward to wealth. And the other side flows in the opposite direction, carrying all of the unfortunate enough to get into it and not to extract themselves from it, downward to misery and poverty. Every man who has accumulated a great fortune has recognized the existence of this stream of life. It consists of one's thinking process. The positive emotions of thought form the side of the stream which carries one to fortune. The negative emotions form the side of the stream that carries one to poverty. This carries a thought of stupendous importance to the person who is following this book with the objective of accumulating a fortune. If you are in the side of the stream which leads to poverty, this may serve as an oar by which you may propel yourself over into the other side of the stream. It can serve you only through application and use. Merely reading and passing judgment on it, either one way or another, will in no way benefit you. Some people undergo the experiment of alternating between the positive and negative sides of the stream, being at times on the positive side and at times on the negative side. The Wall Street crash of '29 swept millions of people from the positive to the negative side of the stream. These millions are struggling, some of them in a desperation and fear, and to get back to the positive side of the stream. This book was written especially for those millions. Poverty and riches often change places. The crash taught the world this truth, although the world will not long remember this lesson. Poverty may, and generally does, voluntarily take the place of riches. When riches take the place of poverty, the change is usually brought about through well-conceived and carefully executed plans. Poverty needs no plan. It needs no one to aid it because it is bold and ruthless. Riches are shy and timid. They have to be attracted. Anybody can wish for riches, and most people do, but only a few know that a definite plan plus a burning desire for wealth are the only dependable means of accumulating wealth. Man, short and sweet, man. Again, this, like I said in this chapter, like when I was listening to it, reading it last night, and then listening to it today, and then listening again to it right now, it just summed it all up again for me that the secret to this book is not just this chapter, but what I spoke about before. It's this book. It's the entire lessons in each chapter, breaking it down chapter by chapter and really living in each chapter and making it part of your life. Like, you know, like we just witnessed from 7 years, whatever, that Bob Proctor, lived in this book. And I mean, I didn't really follow too much Bob Proctor, and I'm not really quite sure why, other than I followed Jim Rohn, I followed Les Brown, I followed Tony Robbins, but they all followed the same thing. But so I'm really loving, that Bob Proctor, like, it's a fresh breath for me because it's new. It's not this, whatever, the mom, dad, whoever have all this wisdom, or coach or uncle, but you hear it all the time. So you kind of get, even with Byron, it's like, we hear it all the time, Joda. It's like, we hear it, we know it, and then we're like, damn. But when you hear it from another side, or just a little different spin or a different angle on it, or you hear another story of someone else who did it, that came from nothing, another person that came from nothing, another one that came from nothing, another one that came from nothing. What the hell? We got no excuses, right? It's just like, the answers are here. The answer is an open book test. Here you go. And it's like God handing it to you again. Okay, I'm going to give it to you again, son. I'm going to give it to you again. Here you go again. But again, and back to the mastermind group, the power of the mastermind, the title of this chapter right here. I mean, with everyone that's been in this group, and then the 5 of us that are on here right now, y'all are like brothers, man, to me. Not in just in that way of like, I know y'all got my back. I know that y'all think like I do. I know that I think like you do. And I know that we all have a little piece of that tree that we were talking about, or which part of the limb do you want to give up? We need it all. And it's really that that belief level of like, because we all have that, in our ear of like that fear, doubt, and worry, the devil over there trying to always lure us back into, hey man, hey, come on, man, don't go over there. You don't need to get on this call. You don't need to stay up late. You don't need to listen to this again. You already heard this. You know this. You know what you're listening to. You know what you need to do. Now come over here and have some cake or whatever. And the devil, man, he knows all our buttons, man. He knows all our buttons. He knows where to spin to get us off that track. But we just got to stay on track. We just got to keep each other accountable to, the little daily things.
Can I jump in
Absolutely.
there?
Hit it, Derek.
I think it's like I'm thinking images a lot of times, and I don't know always where that comes from, but I remember hearing this one time about if you took like a rope, like one rope, right? There's a certain level of tension. If you were to pull that rope, maybe attach it to 2 trucks or something, at some point it's going to break at some point. But if you took, like, let's say each one of us is a rope, and you interwove those 5 ropes into one rope, it's literally almost impossible to break.
Mhm.
And
Yes,
that's when I think of the word that jumped off the page with this chapter was power,
Mm,
power,
mm,
power. And I just kept just digesting that what does it take to get a spacecraft out of the Earth's grip? Power.
power.
It takes power to get it, and it uses up a lot of power to finally get
Launched.
free,
Yeah, yeah,
get launched. It takes
yeah.
power to get that aircraft off that runway.
Mhm,
My mother is on a trip right now with my younger sister, who's a pilot for JetBlue, and my
mhm.
sister wanted my mother to have the experience of being a passenger on a plane she's flying.
Nice.
you know, and she's my baby sister. She's like 14 years younger than me. But I think
Mhm,
about it, she gets into this equipment, this machine, and she thrusts that lever forward or whatever they do,
Yeah.
and activates that power. And she, with that machine, can now elevate and go into the air.
Mm,
And I feel like that machine, that aircraft, is that book we got.
mm,
And then the last thought I'll just share with that, and what you said is, I know there's so many that have gone down this path that have shared nuggets of similar concepts. But what strikes me is really super dynamic about Bob Proctor is that he took the blueprint, Think and Grow Rich, and he based his livelihood on that blueprint that we all have access to.
yes, sir.
The exact same blueprint.
Yep.
No deviation. No, this not a rendition of it. This is the blueprint, the plan, the script.
That's it.
So that's what I had to
Nah,
say.
nah, I love it. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. What you got, Bri?
Just kept thinking about the power of the mastermind. Excuse me. And yeah, I was watching excuse me, an interview the other day. Sounds kind of crazy, but I was listening to him, and it's great that from when he was a young person, he was brought up. It seems kind of crazy, but around a lot of nurturing people that really wanted to take care of him and really wanted to show him respect and show his family respect and show his parents respect, because they understood that they had this young person out, away from the family. So they wanted to make sure that he was taken care of and he was grown right. So he had to go to school and he had to show discipline and he had to do all these type of things. So his mastermind was, from the outside looking in, looked like a bunch of crazy people that may not have been well intentioned, but from the inside looking in, his perspective was that like these were some of the greatest people on earth that taught him, how to be a real leader, how to be a visionary, on how to be a superstar, right?
Mm,
And so now he is taking that knowledge and he's taking some of the young people that he, brought into the game, Drake and Nicki Minaj, and
mm,
now they're global icons now, because of the lessons that he learned from his mastermind. He was able to take those lessons and apply to his new group, right? And now they become, nurturing students for him. That's his mastermind. So in a way, a mastermind, you kind of have to be like a sponge, right? You have to take this information, you've got to absorb a lot of information, you got to really retain it. But then there's another part of the sponge that you got to take, and you got to release
mm,
that information. Sometimes people will say they are a sponge and they absorb a lot of information, but that's great, um, to absorb all this information. But what is a sponge if it's just full of water and it's just a heavy object that really has no purpose? It just makes a mess of things that just spreads more liquid all over the place. But if you really kind of can take the sponge and you can control it, and you squeeze that knowledge or whatever that liquid is into like a glass, so to speak, or a vessel, so to speak. All that knowledge and all that information is now contained, and it can now be, put into a direct line where it can really be channeled into somewhere proper. So the power of the mastermind. Wow, what a cool book this is, man. And you're right. What part is, what part would you consider the best or the most important?
Yeah.
The whole thing. It's got to be. It's a whole package.
Yeah. It is, man. You're right. It really is. It's not the and it's not just the accumulation of knowledge, because it's putting that knowledge to work and figuring out which part of that is working and which part needs to be massaged a little bit more and which part needs to be tweaked within the plan. But when you sit back and you're perfecting the plan and you're perfecting all of these pieces that you don't know what that's going to look like or how the outcome's going to be until you put it into action. So to me, it's the action. You know what I mean? I don't care what you do. If you don't take action, it makes no difference. So again, there's no one part that's more important than the other. Like you said, it's all you get, but you got to do them all. And you got to submit to the process, and you got to submit to just knowing that you don't know, and that's okay. But you're going to know along the way. You're going to learn, and you're going to fall down, you're going to get up. There's no one in this book that he's talking about that accumulated these massive fortunes in this massive riches in every area of their life that didn't go through trials and tribulations along the way. The journey was crazy. They don't talk about all of that. They talk about what it took to make that happen. You don't need to know all the garbage. You don't need all the little gritty ditty, little things that the shysting that went on, the people that, you know what I'm saying? The people that pulled the rug on them, the people that, cheated on their whatever, this or that, whatever. You just need to know. No, you need to have a plan. You need to have, the burning desire. You need to have faith. You need to have imagination. You need to have a mastermind group. You need to have all of these little tools. And then in and around all of that, it will happen and you will grow. And then next thing you know, you'll be at a whole nother level that you didn't even know existed. And then there's another, holy, I didn't know any of this was up here. To me, I feel like it's rooms. You open up the door like, shit, I didn't even know this was in here. I don't even know what you do with what's in this room or what happens in here, but we're going to find out because it's a new room. And it's like, I'm blessed in many, many ways, but I have some amazing clients, man. They're just like really, they let me pour into them as much as I retract, I sponge from them, and then I can share with y'all and other people throughout these years. But I have this lady, she's 87 years old and full of wisdom, world traveled. Like I just like sit there and I just ask questions and just like sit back and listen to all of this knowledge. And then I have an 87-year-old, 88-year-old client who's USC professor, still a professor there, still like ingrained in raising money. He's the top money raiser for USC. Like every year, the newest money or most money that comes in, new money, he gets it every year. So I just listen and I like, and again, it's all these little bits of pieces that are in this Bible that we have here. And they don't even know like that they're doing a lot of this stuff. That's just innate and that became part of them and who they are and like what it is. And then when I talk about thinking forever to them, they're like, their mind's blown. I'm like, you don't know this book, but they know. And so it's not like it's not just those people in this book that were the most successful. It's all successful people utilize all the principles within this book, whether they know it or not. So what you got, Joda?
Oh, I'm muted. Sorry.
Oh, good. How are you, man?
I was just able to listen into. Today was a kind of a rough day, so.
No worries, man. No worries. We'll pray for you. We're here for
Thank
you.
you. We're getting there. So we're getting there, but it's taken a long time.
Yes.
I have a healthy respect for Mama because she went through all this while I went back to work last year, and today was my first full day. And wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I'll stay again with everything, man. If we don't have faith and we don't have, infinite power, I think all of us on here are Christian of some sort that have serious belief and just lay it over to him and know this too shall pass. And you do
100%.
you do your part, do what you can for you, fill your bucket first.
Yeah.
Because without your health and without Brian's health, without Derek's health and Dave's health and Dom's health, we are no good for anybody.
No.
For anybody.
I had a conversation with Jocelyn for about 20 minutes, Miss Driscoll.
Okay, good.
And so, and I got Jay on board to, and then also have the head of marketing for our company on board to help me as well. So
yeah, do it. Get that done. Joda he's got a family issue that he's been fighting with his daughter, so needs some prayers, and we'll need our mastermind group and help to spread the love and to be doing a fundraiser and some stuff. So
yeah,
it's
I got what chapter was the one where, was it the pastor or reverend willed $1 million, or not willed, but well, I can't remember what chapter it was. And
I
TG.
remember the chapter you're referring to where the person,
you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, the person he was talking, and then a gentleman came up from the back of the church, and because he put the idea out there, and the guy gravitated to what he was trying to do and supported that cause.
Yeah.
And that's where I got this kind of idea to raise money for this cause. So my goal is either to connect with a nonprofit that fights pans and pandas, or start one myself down the road.
No doubt. No doubt. Have you looked up anything online?
Oh yeah, I've been researching it like since Sunday. I basically started Sunday and been kind of going. I meet with Jay tomorrow to set a definite date that we're going to do. I'm shooting for June, but I don't know what their calendar's like. So, but he said Sunday they're not very busy. So, and I thought that would be enough time where I could literally reach out to everybody that I need to.
Yes.
So, but
yeah,
I have a certain monetary goal that I want to do, and I'm going to head it.
Yep. And then look for, just put it out there that somebody who's into fundraising, that's what they do. Because there's definitely an art to that.
And that's the marketing person at McGuire. She's the head of on fundraising.
There you go.
She does all that. So she's right next to me on board. So
perfect.
Whatever you need, because I'm also part of the charity committee for McGuire's. It was just a small 2 or 3 people, but they'd open it up to employees. And since I had my restaurant, we used to do food donations all the time to events, feed people and stuff like that. So we probably donated thousands of dollars of food, and now I can do it this way through McGuire.
Yeah.
It was like one of the biggest businesses in our county. So
perfect. Yeah. Think you're on mute, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic.
There you go.
Definitely going to lift you up in prayer, brother.
Well,
absolutely. I don't know if Dave, if he ever got his audio.
He's left a message saying he was having some internet difficulties. So it's all good.
It's all good, Dave. You can.
We hear you. We got you, big dog.
We hear you. We hear you loud and clear. You with us? You agree?
Yeah. I was thinking on the, when I'm we talked about the power, and certainly, and he talk about some aspects of the book. You hear about some financially powerful people coming together, but then when they use the example here in this chapter about Gandhi, and you know that's probably where most of us on the walk the face of the planet tend to think that the power tends to line up with where the resources are, like the wealthy have
Right.
the power, but
Right.
the power is in the idea,
Right.
and that's that. I mean, they didn't say he was just powerful, but he was probably one of the
The
most
most, yes.
powerful. So you think about it, say his power transcended 200 million people that could connect with the idea.
Right.
So that idea had to be
With no money.
with no money, but see, money is really nothing. Money is, what is money?
Right.
You can't eat
Right.
it, you
Right.
can't
Right.
drink it.
Right.
It's just an instrument. It's a representative, it's symbolic.
Yeah.
An idea, and then they talked about there's energy and there's matter. That's it.
Right.
The whole world, the whole universe, the whole heavens and earth is energy and matter. That's it.
Yes.
It's simplistic. And that's sometimes where the power is. They talk about, I don't know a whole lot about it, but these nuclear physicists and nuclear energy. You think about nuclear this and nuclear that, how significant a power that is. But what is nuclear? Atoms,
Right. Right.
the smallest elements
Yes.
combined in a force, a mastermind of elements.
Right.
that's
Exactly.
that's just another dimension, because that's how it works, is that these dimensions apply to every facet of life, human life, and the things that surround and make up the life that we live in. So
Nice. Yeah. 100% true.
and I'm telling you, I when I leave these sessions here,
Oh, it's again, it's to provoke thought, right? It's to provoke our minds. It's to really keep it just that powerful, amazing like machine that it is just to keep that imagination just like watered, man, and just like really know that these aren't just stories, these aren't just books, these aren't just us randomly coming together on a Wednesday night again within this book. And it's like, so back to Mother Mary, my client, the 87-year-old yesterday, she looks me in the eye, she's like, you haven't done what you're supposed to do yet. She's like, I said, I know. She's like, no. She's like, you're not done yet. I said, no, I pray every morning, man, because I know I got a whole lot more in me. I know I'm just getting started, just like us. And it's just the seedling is just, sprouted up out of that, the earth, not a pot, out of the earth. And it's like, and it's rooting to all these other ones. And it's connecting to each one of y'all. And it's connecting to, there's many other ones that it's at a higher level. This is not like the low hanging fruit or the ones that I've known and been around me for a really long time. This is all new, like bloodlines that are just really tapping into and reforming who I am and who comes into my life, into my connection. I really, I've been telling people this for a while. I mean, within the last like at least year or so, or 2 years, I think probably about right around the hashtag 1 million prayers call. Like when I tell people, new people, I'm like, I don't know what it is about y'all, but like whether y'all been praying or whatever, but if you're in my space at this point in my life, it's a reason. It's a solid, it's a, believe it, and you all believe it in yourself, because I believe it wholeheartedly. Like, I know you guys have, gifts within you, and I know you know it too, but it's on a whole nother level, man. We are just scratching because this stuff right here within this book, man, is like just the fuel to the fire that really keeps every day knowing that there's so much more, man. There's so much more. There's so much more. There's so many more people that we're going to touch, and that need what we have, the lights that we are, the lighthouses that we are, the connectors that we are, the gifts that we have that connect together and really plug in and just like blow stuff up, man. Talking about, nuclear energy. I mean, that's that's some nuclear energy right there.
Mhm.
The powers that we have between our brains connected together, so it's getting
Right.
back to these calls, man. They really they really ignite.
Well, you gave us a seed just in sharing your story, because that that resonates with me. It's like when you say hashtag 1 million prayers, I don't see that as a endpoint or a one-time event.
No.
As we used to say in accounting, that's not a balance sheet moment. This is an ongoing thing. That's the thing that could permeate forward through a number of. It's like it'd be like if the Hoover Dam opened up. Where's that water gonna go? It's gonna flow.
Everywhere.
It's
Yes.
gonna flow.
Yes. Yes.
You know.
It's powerful stuff, man. It's powerful. So, all right, fellas, I'll let y'all get going tonight. We'll go have some dinner with the family, but I appreciate you all. And, anything comes up, throw it into the Telegram, into the chats, and look forward to next week. And, I'm always around. Y'all can find me. So y'all need a conversation or a talk, or you got something on your mind, mastermind, something to do. I'm here for y'all.
All right. Be careful what you ask for.
Nah, I'm here, man. Again,
No, I'm messing.
no, I know y'all know, and I said it on the call on Saturday too. And Kevin's like, "No, don't be giving up." I'm gonna call you in the middle of the night. I'm like, "Call, man. Like if you need me." But then again, like I said within the call too, like if you call and you don't take my advice, or like, and it's gonna help you, propel you, like, don't. What are you asking for? Just talk. You ask. And I tell people all the time, like, you just asking questions just to ask to see if I know my stuff, or like, are you really going to take the information I give you and run with it? Like, why are you asking? You already asked 3 times. That's the 4th time you asked. You still believe? Yes. You still do this? Yes. You still, you still living in California? Yes. You still training? Yes. You still eating keto or healthy? Yes. You still training people? Yes. Stop. You ready or no? Oh, I just ask. You're just asking. I'm just asking. So, but anyway, man. But Brad, I want to hook up with you next couple of days or whenever, man. But you've been on my mind, bro. I'm glad you showed up tonight.
Yeah, you was on my
Sounds
mind
good.
too. So good to see you.
No, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you.
No
It's good to
doubt.
be.
Take care,
good to
brother
be seen.
Joda.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen.
Take care,
Thank you.
brother Dave.
Appreciate you.
Yes, appreciate
Gentlemen,
y'all. Peace,
have an
man.
incredible night tonight.
You too, brother. All right, man.